Welcome back. SelfSustained here again with yet another how-to. This time we're going to set up the priest as a holy. It's not something I do personally very often. In fact, I haven't personally been in holy in several years. So this is strictly going off of the information garnered from Icy Veins. Again, utilizing their vast hours of knowledge and research. So first of all, holy's a little different than the others in the sense that you now have 3 different stances to choose from. They're called chakras, or chakras, however you pronounce it. So chakra chastise is essentially what gives you damage ability. Increases your damage, shadow and holy damage by 50%, and transforms your holy word spell into chastise, which is a direct holy damage, as well as a nice little 3-second stun. For the most part, that's all I'm really going to touch on that. We'll start off with talents. Again, talents, as you can see, these are the recommended and how I've got set up. We'll go through again. Tier 1, Angelic Bulwark, Spectral Guise, and Desperate Prayer. Desperate Prayer being chosen for the self-heal ability of keeping yourself alive. Tier 2 at level 30 allows Body and Soul, Phantasm, and Angelic Feather. Angelic Feather being used, and it allows to place up to 3 feathers at any given time at a target location. So if I click on Angelic Feather, we'll see that I can drop a feather. Now upon walking through it, I gain movement speed. Pretty cool. Tier 3 at level 45, you have the choices between Surge of Light, Power Word Solace, and in this case, Mindbender. We're choosing Mindbender for the improved version of Shadow Fiend, which does a little bit better damage and generates more mana. We're most generally going for the mana regen, though the added DPS and questing and solo content is obviously going to be a benefit, whereas we're primarily healer spec. We don't have much in the way of damage. So in Tier 4 at level 60, you have the choices of Dominate Mind, Void Tendrils, or Psychic Scream. Now in this tier, there's really no benefit to any of the 3 over the others, so it's really more of a user's choice. So in this case, we stick with Psychic Scream. Gives us a little additional fear to keep people off of us, maybe even give us a chance to get away. Tier 5 at level 75, you gain the ability to choose between Divine Insight, Twist of Fate, or Power Infusion. And this time, as well as the other 2, I've noticed in this tier, Power Infusion seems to be a little bit above the other 2, regardless of which talent specialization you take. Power Infusion is a active, meaning you have to click the instant ability. You have a 2-minute cooldown, and then in that 20-second window after clicking it, your haste is increased by 25%, and the mana cost of all spells is reduced by 20%. Having the ability to choose when that happens means quite a bit. In Tier 6, you have Divine Star, Halo, and Cascade. Now on Holy, this time we've decided to go with Cascade for, again, that whole Ronco terminology. Set it and forget it. You're going to launch the Cascade Holy Bolt. It's going to grow in power as it gains distance, healing ally for up to a little bit of heals, and then it's going to bounce to additional allies up to 4 different bounces. Each time it bounces, it's going to split into 2 bolts. And finally, when you get to level 100 and you get your 7th tier, the 3 choices down here are Saving Grace, clarity of purpose, and words of mending. Now here, words of mending is a clear choice for holy, as it gives the words of mending stacks, allowing your next heal or shielding spell to also cast prayer of mending. So that added bonus heals comes in extremely handy as a holy. Now, in glyphs, unfortunately I don't have all the glyphs, and as there aren't too many to worry about anyhow, I'll just kind of go through them off of the list here. Now, reflective shield is not necessary, so I'm going to remove that. But you do want Glyph of Renew. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to reduce the duration of this heal over time by 3 seconds, but it's going to increase the amount of healing done by it by 25%. The other options were Deep Wells, which if I find it down here, increases the total amount of charges of your light well by 2. Free extra heals for the raid. Binding Heal is another recommended glyph, making your Binding Heal spell also heal a third friendly target. It's not just who you're targeting and yourself, but yet an additional one. Not exactly free heals, as it makes the Binding Heal spell cost 35% more mana. And last but not least was Circle of Healing. The glyph for Circle of Healing basically makes your Circle of Healing spell heal one more target, and it's like Binding Heal with the increased of 35% more mana cost. And again, the minor glyphs, cosmetic purely, so no real need there. Now, I kind of sped through the majority of talent and glyph simply because there's a little bit more. There's not really a rotation to holy, whereas holy is almost a pure heal spec. You need to know a little bit more about healing in general. So I'm kind of going to break this down a little bit between like a small group versus a larger, more intense, like a raid battle encounter. So first off, your small group, which is all I would be able to accomplish at my current item level. With that, you're going to choose, instead of Chastise for damage, you're going to go with Chakra Serenity. Basically for the ability to be more versatile between single target heals and raid heals. Allows you to do both at the same time in certain aspects. For instance, just a baseline idea of how to heal a small group as a holy priest. If you're in group and they're taking low to no damage, all you're really going to do is drop a Renew on the tank and use Serenity to refresh it. Your holy word Serenity changed from Chastise as you change through your chakras, as you notice down here. Now there's a 10-second cooldown whenever you switch chakras like that, so now Chastise will go back to Serenity when I switch back. And what that does is it instantly heals the target for a moderate amount of heal and increases the critical effect of all your healing spells on that target by 25% for the next 6 seconds. So again, you're going to renew, which is your little hot. I've got it bound to my voodoo, so let me bring it up here so you can see it. Renew heals a target for 1200 and then an additional 12,000 over the next 12 seconds. So you're going to drop a renew, and then you'll use power word Serenity. I threw a cascade in there on accident to renew that hot. So as it is there, I can drop it again and it started over. And by doing that, now any single target heal, for instance heal, will also renew. That's redundant, isn't it? My apologies. And of course, at that point, that's going to maintain 90% of your healing in a situation where you're not taking a whole lot of damage. If you happen to need anything more than that, a general heal will cover it from there. If for some reason that isn't covering it and you're taking more damage than that, more of a low to mid-range damage intake, you throw a Prayer of Mending in the middle of that. Prayer of Mending is, again, the one that basically jumps. Once it makes its heal, it jumps to another party or raid member, and it'll jump up to 5 times and last 30 seconds after each jump. I'm going to kind of keep that rolling around the group pretty well all the time. If that's still not enough, then really the only thing you're going to be doing is making sure that you put your Prayer of Mending directly on the tank, and then keep Holy Word Serenity also on the tank on cooldown. So as soon as it comes off, you're going to hit it again and again. That is the majority of 5-man dungeon healing at its best. I mean, it's pretty basic, pretty straightforward. Holy Word Serenity, Prayer of Mending, Renew on just about every cooldown, and that'll pretty well cover it. Now, there are a few actual cooldowns of your own that you want to keep in mind, and those are Divine Hymn, which is more of a, with its 3-minute cooldown, you'll want to have the raid leader or your group leader give you an idea of the best time in the mechanics as they want it to be used. It is a channeled spell, so for 8 seconds you will be stuck standing still, doing what you can to heal. It is an AoE though, so it does quite a bit of healing. But it, like I said, it does take you out of the rotation for 8 seconds. Another cooldown to know about is Lightwell. Lightwell is something that you drop, and others, I do believe, every 1 second the Lightwell will attempt to heal. Oh, it does it automatically now. It automatically heals party and raid members lower than 50% health for a moderate amount over the 6 seconds. Essentially casting a hot on anybody that needs it. Nice little cooldown, but again a 3-minute cooldown. And last but not least is Guardian Spirit. Guardian Spirit is again one of those that you really just kind of want to know when to use it. Most generally it's a lifesaver. Anytime someone's going to imminently die, you throw the Guardian Spirit on that person, and the Guardian Spirit dies instead of them. Not only does it save their life, but it also increases healing received on that target by 60%. Heals the target for 40% of their maximum health, and is castable while stunned, so that's nice to know as well. Now in the instance of once I've got geared to the point that I can start raiding, then it changes a little bit of different playstyle. You're going to change chakras for one. You're going to switch from Serenity to Sanctuary. Sanctuary, basically it takes each heal cast and reduces Circle of Healing, its cooldown, by 1 second for each heal. Not to mention, your Holy Word changes to Sanctuary, which blesses the ground with Divine Light, like so, on a 40-second cooldown. Heals up to 6 allies within the ring. Pretty decent little ring there. And as you can see, that also works with the Lightwell. So, general course of action when you're in a raid and you're taking a lot of damage. First of all, in the situation where you know it's going to be hard hitting, though you're not taking that damage just yet, Circle of Healing takes your top priority. Circle of Healing heals up to 5 injured allies within 30 yards of the target for a small heal, but it's instant. The 12-second cooldown does hurt a little bit, but it will take care of everybody quite nicely. Heal to top people off. Renew proactively. Basically, that little hot of Renew will act as a active mitigation. And then last but not least is Prayer of Healing, but only if you have 3 or more friendlies that will benefit from the spell without causing too much overhealing. If you're taking more damage than that, about the only thing to change would be, instead of heal to top off, use Prayer of Mending. Prayer of Mending is the, once again, jumps after it makes its heal. And you do that on cooldown when the damage is sustainable. Again, using Renew on as many friendlies as you can. And meaning, even if they're not taking damage, you want to cast it before the damage is there, if at all possible. Prayer of Healing still stands in the same situation. If you've got 3 or more friendlies that can use the heal without being overhealed too much, Prayer of Healing. And then, of course, Holy Word Sanctuary. Your Holy Word this time is another big circle. It covers as many friendlies as possible. So if you think you got Holy Word Sanctuary, and Barrier, where'd that go? This thing's gonna fall apart before I get it back. No, maybe you can't do them both. My apologies. Like I said, I'm not a holy priest by any means, but I'm doing what I can here for you. If you're in a situation where you're against a raid boss and everybody's taking high sustained damage, your Sanctuary comes first and foremost. You want to keep that up as much as possible. As soon as it comes off cooldown, hit it again. You want to be hitting Renew on everybody as much as possible. Following that with Circle of Healing on cooldown, Prayer of Mending on cooldown, and Prayer of Healing as your filler, that you're basically just going to be spamming Prayer of Healing left and right. I know it's a lot of mana, but when you're in a situation where you're taking a lot of damage, you need the heals as much as possible. As an emergency, you can use Flash Heal or Binding Heal if you're glyphed for it, as either one of those gives you Serendipity. Serendipity is a passive effect that when you heal with Binding Heal or Flash Heal, the cast time of your next heal or Prayer of Healing is reduced by 20%, and the mana cost is also reduced by 20%, which can stack up to 2 times, meaning if you have 2 stacks of Serendipity, the next 2 casts will be reduced. Very nice. In that case, the same cooldowns still are beneficial. You really don't have much more than that. I mean, like I said, there really isn't much damage, so I didn't go too much into that. I do have a single macro set up. What it does is takes my Holy Fire spell, which is one of my 2 damage abilities, other than a couple of shadow abilities, and adds it with Power Infusion, so that way as I hit it, I get the instant cast of Power Infusion more frequently, as much as I possibly can, within its 2-minute cooldown. Other than that, it's Holy Fire and Smite. Throw a little Mind Seer, or don't forget your Mind Bender for mana regen. Really ain't a whole lot to it. If there's more than that, by all means, feel free to add to in the comments below. Help me out, because like I said, I'm not the biggest holy resource on the planet by any means. On that note, I am going to wrap it up, though. I thank you again for showing up at SelfiGaming. This has been Self-Sustained. If you like this video, please show me some love. Hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Keep up on all the new content as it comes out. And we thank you. Enjoy your day.